It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's First Chapter Friday, and today I'm coming at you with one of the 2023 Mark Twain nominees. This has been one of my favorites so far. Today I'm going to teach you about A Place to Hang the Moon. This is a historical fiction novel, so it means it is partially based on true events, things that really happened. This is for all of you World War II, all of you who are interested in World War II. This is similar to a book that many of you have heard me talk about before. It's one of my favorites called The War That Saved My Life. This is a real event that happened during World War II called Operation Pied Piper. And Operation Pied Piper took children from London, so this is in England, from London, England, from big cities where they thought that were likely going to be bombed, and they took those children and moved them into different homes in the country. Their parents did not go with them. Children were actually put on trains and then just sent out to the countryside for the remainder of the war, where they were trying to keep them safe. Many of those children were reunited with their families after. Some families did end up not being able to be reunited. But this is one of the stories of a family who had a unique experience during the Operation Pied Piper. This is, I'm going to read you the back now, a heartwarming story about 3 siblings evacuated from London to the countryside during World War II, who are hoping that a temporary living situation will turn into a forever family. So their actual guardians have passed away, and you're going to find out in the first chapter that they have a lot of money. And so they're trying to actually find their forever home. They are not looking to be reunited with anybody. They're looking for their forever home. And so you're going to kind of like learn a little bit about these siblings. I'm only going to read you a little bit of the first chapter is very long. So I just want you to get a vibe of what the story is going to read like. It's just such a good story. You're going to fall in love with these 3 siblings and the way they communicate with each other. And you're also going to learn a little bit of history at the same time. Okay, here we go. This is chapter 1 of A Place to Hang the Moon. Chapter 1. Funeral receptions can be tough spots to find enjoyment, but 11-year-old Edmund Pierce was doing his best. He was intent on the iced buns. Some of them had gone squashy on one side or the other. Some had lost their icing when a neighboring bun had been removed, and a few had been sadly neglected in the icing department from the start. Undaunted, Edmund picked through the pile, finding 2 that met his approval. He shoved one into each of his trouser pockets, scooping up a handful of custard cream cookies to round out the meal, navigated through the crowd until he found a vacant armchair. There he settled, quite content despite the occasion. It helped that he'd never cared much for his grandmother anyway. On the other side of the room, Anna Pierce sat cross-legged on the floor between a corner cabinet and a brocade settee. The settee's occupants didn't notice the 9-year-old tucked under the weighty scroll of its arm. Anna had nearly finished Mary Poppins, and she preferred its company to that of the unfamiliar elderly ladies perched on the settee. So it's kind of like a couch. They're sitting on a couch and they don't notice her reading her Mary Poppins book. Like her brother, Anna had managed to find enjoyment at the funeral reception. Also, like her brother, Anna felt little grief at her grandmother's passing. William Pierce, the eldest of our threesome, made his way through the throng, thanking people for coming. He had spent a particularly long while with the vicar, who was quite deaf. Vicar is like a religious person, so the person who was probably doing the funeral. Everything had to be repeated for the dear man, understood, and this took some time. William was cross and tired. The corners of his mouth felt tight with smiling. But funeral receptions, after all, were not events to be enjoyed, even when one didn't much miss one's grandmother. William glimpsed the toe of Anna's shoe by the corner cabinet. He smiled, his first real smile of the day, crossing the room and nodding to the elderly ladies on the settee. He nudged Anna's foot with his own. She looked up from her book and smiled back. William crouched low and squeezed between the furniture to join his sister. It was a tight spot and none too comfortable for a tallish boy of 12, but this is what one does when one loves one's sister very much, especially when one hasn't any parents who might make themselves uncomfortable on behalf of their children. William eyed the slim handful of pages remaining to be read in Anna's book. You on your last chapter? Anna marked her spot with a hair ribbon and nodded. Mary Poppins has gone away, and the children are so sad. William pulled Anna close. Is the reception nearly over? She asked. Nearly. William surveyed the crowd. People are starting to leave. They've got to get home before the blackout. Where's Edmund? William sighed. Last I saw, he was taunting the vicar. Anna's eyes went wide. Taunting him? Standing behind him, trying to figure out how loud he had to shout before the vicar noticed he was there. Oh, dear, said Anna. I should find him. William squeezed Anna's shoulder. Stay here and finish your book. Anna took her brother's hand. I'll come with you. I'd rather finish it in bed tonight. With that, the pair began to search for their brother in the crowded room. This took quite a while, as they were stopped at every turn by well-dressed strangers wishing to list their grandmother's many fine qualities. Anna found herself collecting words along the way. Principled, dignified, formidable. She wasn't entirely certain what formidable meant, but it sounded like forbidding, which was a word that described her grandmother very nicely. Certainly more so than a word like grandmotherly. Thank you, sir, she heard William say as he shook the hand of a brittle-looking man in a gold-buttoned jacket. You're right, sir. She was formidable, sir. William spied Edmund in the armchair. He was tossing bits of cookies into the air and catching them, most of them in his mouth. William excused himself from the gold-buttoned man and pulled Anna along behind him. The pair reached Edmund just as a piece of custard cream cookie bounced off his chin and skidded across the floor to lodge itself against the base of a lamp. William put his hand on his hips. Must you really, Edmund? Edmund grinned. There were only boring cookies left. You gotta do something to make them more interesting. Anna eyed the piece of the lamp. I like custard creams. She thought it was a shame to waste them even if there had been a war on, which in fact there was. William scowled at Edmund's feet. Edmund, put your shoes on. Why? Because the guests are leaving. We've got to see them out. I'm in my own house. Why do I have to wear shoes? William retrieved his brother's shoes from the floor. Please, Edmund. Edmund grunted his indignation, but took the shoes. As the children waited for Edmund to do up his laces, they caught snippets of conversations here and there. Lovely sermon, a woman said to the vicar. Blasted Germans, someone else said. Whatever is to be done about the children? This came from the dining room. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Basically, they find out that they're going to be moved in this Operation Pied Piper, but instead of looking to stay with the family, they are looking to find their forever home. And so you're going to go along on the journey with them when you read A Place to Hang the Moon. I hope you'll enjoy this as much as I did. I really love this historical fiction novel. Come check it out with me this week in the library. Bye!